Today on Public Eye News, another supercell storm system sends tornadoes tearing across the United States. Later, details on Donald Trump as he's on his way to Manhattan to face criminal charges.
Joe Sigourney will have your weather going into the week, and I will have your sports recap. I'm Brad Seaboard.
And I'm Reed Hall, and this is Public Eye News. A powerful and deadly storm system ravaged parts of the U.S. this past weekend. The storms, which are believed to have spawned dozens of tornadoes, tore through much of the South, Midwest, and Northeast, killing at least 32 people. The dead included 5 in Arkansas, 5 in Indiana, 4 in Illinois, and 9 in one Tennessee county alone. The number of deaths continues to grow as of Sunday. As crews continue to assess the destruction left by the storm, it may take days to confirm all the recent tornadoes that are believed to have touched down in 11 different states. Many residents recalled their terror during the storm as the tornadoes ripped off roofs and sent trees crashing into houses. In Illinois, a tornado partially collapsed the roof of the Apollo Theater that was hosting 260 people for a heavy metal concert. 48 people were treated in hospitals, 5 in critical condition, while 1 person did not survive. President Biden this weekend declared broad areas of the country major disaster areas, which makes both federal resources and financial aid available for recovery. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders also declared her own state of emergency and has activated the state's National Guard. And in lighter news, NASA today released the 4 astronaut crew set to fly to the moon by the end of next year. Announced during a ceremony in Houston, which is home to Mission Control, the crew will include 3 men and 1 woman and will be the first crew to fly NASA's Orion capsule. The 3 American and 1 Canadian astronaut will launch from the Kennedy Space Center no earlier than late 2024. The mission is not to land on the moon or even enter lunar orbit, but is rather just to fly around the moon before coming directly back to Earth. The mission is a prelude to a lunar landing by 2 other spacecraft a year later. The mission's commander, Reed Wiseman, will be joined by Victor Glover, an African-American naval aviator, Christina Cook, and Canadian Jeremy Hansen. This marks the first crew to include a woman and someone not from the U.S.
Today, Joe Biden is set to visit a clean energy technology manufacturer in Minneapolis as part of his expected re-election campaign. Engine maker Cummins, Inc., located in suburban Minneapolis, intends to announce a nationwide facility upgrade alongside the president's visit, which would allow the company to produce low to zero carbon engines. This accompanies President Biden's recent administration agendas, which highlight job growth and investments around the country, as well as a push toward clean energy and manufacturing in the U.S. Across Minnesota, Biden's economic plans have led to $2.7 billion in federal funding for statewide projects, such as transportation projects and improved access to clean water. The administration is attempting to pass a proposed budget with $2.6 billion in new spending, as well as other visions for Biden's expected 2024 election campaign. And in Wayne, Michigan, a suspected intruder is in critical condition after attempting to gain access to a Ford plant. Around 7 p.m. on Saturday, the Wayne Police Department responded to a report of a man with a gun attempting to access the property. He was found by police outside of an employee entrance where he pointed a handgun at officers and was shot. The man, whose identity has not been released, is hospitalized in critical condition. No officers were injured at the scene, and the Michigan State Police are reviewing the case. And in Nashville, as first responders were racing to the Covenant School Monday to respond to a mass shooting, volunteers were racing to a different church to set up a reunification center in record time. News Channel 5's Chris Davis tells us more about the group who worked tirelessly to unite families in the wake of the tragedy.
It's been a hard week for every Tennessean, but especially for Covenant School students when the shooting shattered their sense of safety.
In terms of what this community has been through, my heart goes out to them.
On Monday, first responders knew the best thing they could do for those students was to get them reunited with the ones who loved them most.
What I am so proud of in this response is how quickly they all not only rushed to action, but they coordinated that action.
So in turn, volunteers got a reunification center at Woodmont Baptist Church set up in less than 45 minutes. All because they had a plan.
We are one of the few that has these protocols. And that's because we realized it was going to be needed.
Jennifer Brinkman works for the state and in her role assisted communities like Nashville in crafting a blueprint plan for the worst case scenarios like this one.
When it happened, they knew they needed the site and they knew who was responsible for getting it so that there was not 5 people calling 15 places and opening reunification sites everywhere.
On Monday, it was the nonprofit Tennessee Voices for Victims that rallied volunteers and planned out every detail.
You've got to get water there. You need to get snacks there. You need to make sure you have enough people that are present to sit in that room and just listen to those families while they wait to hear what happened.
That might have been the best service these volunteers provided.
They'll sit just quietly next to a family when they see that they're struggling, and they will offer support.
Even though it's been a hard week, Jennifer knows for the Covenant families, they may get even harder. Don't worry, they have a plan for that, too.
That we anticipate will have to be for 2 to 3 years to provide support to this community.
Chris Davis, News Channel 5.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with your weather and national news after this break.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow.
I always thought it was something special, but I didn't really know much about it.
Special treasures are our specialty.
And you're not joking.
And I'm not clowning around with you.
Not clowning around.
They are in museums all around the world.
Oh my gosh.
Many examples.
No copies, no transcripts have ever been made of this diary.
Watch Antiques Roadshow next time from the Idaho Botanical Garden in Boise.
Monday night at 8 on WNMU-TV.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I am Joe Sigourney here with your weather update. Take a look behind me right now at the sky cam. Some clouds have rolled in since this morning, but it's still, look, this guy's wearing shorts, so it's warming up out there. All right, taking a look around the temperatures. Up in Houghton, it is the coolest temperature at 33 degrees. Ironwood's at 38, and Iron Mountain is at 46. Escanaba and Menominee are both at 50 degrees and are seeing some sun. Manistique's at 47, the Sioux's at 42, and back in Marquette it is 37 degrees. Right now our winds are north at 9 miles an hour, and our barometric pressure is 29.73 inches and rising. And tonight we can expect more clouds with a low of 26 degrees, and winds will increase. They'll be northeast at 12 miles an hour. And tomorrow we can expect mixed precipitation pretty much all day, a high of 35 and a low of 30. So again, the temperature will stay right around that freezing point, and then winds will be east at 17 miles per hour. And then Wednesday, more mixed precipitation is expected to continue from Tuesday. Again, we could be seeing ice accumulations, so prepare for that. And then also potentially thunderstorms too. Thursday, again, we'll be seeing some more snow, a high of 31 degrees, low of 22. And then Friday, looks like things will finally calm down a bit. It'll be 33 degrees, mostly cloudy with a low of 26. And that's all I have for weather. It is back to the news desk.
Thank you, Joe, for that weather update. Seems to be an interesting week ahead for us. Back to more news, yet another train derailment, this time in northwestern Montana, sent about 25 train cars off the track Sunday. No injuries or evacuations were reported. The train, believed to not be carrying anything hazardous, derailed near the town of Paradise along the Clark Fork River. Both firefighters and Montana Rail Line representatives responded to the scene and were investigating what the cars were carrying. Photos posted to social media showed some cars appearing to dip into the river, but Montana Rail Link assured in a statement the cars did not release anything hazardous. Both Montana U.S. Senators Steve Daines and John Tester said in separate tweets that they were monitoring the situation. With yet another train derailment, members of Congress and federal regulators continue to urge railroads to do more to prevent these accidents. The cause of the derailment is still under investigation. And while former President Donald Trump is set to be arraigned on Tuesday on charges stemming from hush money payments during his 2016 presidential campaign, 2 other probes will continue to press forward. Investigations in both Washington and Atlanta will continue this week, underscoring the political scrutiny Trump faces as he seeks to reclaim the presidency. In Washington, prosecutors continue to investigate whether classified documents were criminally mishandled at Trump's Florida home and the possible obstruction of that probe. In Atlanta, the district attorney's office continues to investigate the attempts of Trump and his allies to undo his election loss in Georgia. While neither investigation shows any signs of nearing criminal charges, both probes have caused setbacks to Trump as the Justice Department continues to rule in favor of allowing prosecutors to question close Trump allies. CBS's Jared Hill has more details on Trump's pending arraignment. Take a look.
A handful of supporters of former President Donald Trump gathered outside his estate in Florida as he prepares to fly to New York to be arraigned on criminal charges.
We will very loudly and proudly say not guilty.
The indictment is still sealed, but a source tells CBS News former President Trump will likely be charged with falsifying business records in the first degree. It's a felony stemming from alleged hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. Trump denies any wrongdoing. New York remains on high alert after former President Trump's calls for protests. We're learning at least one is scheduled for tomorrow. Meanwhile, we're also getting more information about the process that'll happen here at criminal court once the former president arrives. Two law enforcement sources tell CBS News Trump is likely to fly into New York's LaGuardia Airport today on his private plane. He's expected at the courthouse on Tuesday, where charges will be read aloud, all under the protection of Secret Service.
He will be given a booking number. At the time that he receives that booking number, he is officially, quote unquote, under arrest.
As the legal battle plays out, political shockwaves. Sunday, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, a Republican, announced he plans to run for president in 2024 and says Trump should drop out.
For the sake of the office of the presidency, I do think that's too much of a sideshow and distraction.
But most Republicans, including other possible opponents, are offering Trump their support. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
After this break, Brad will have a look at your sports recap. You won't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
Next Legacy List with Matt Paxton. Matt is in historic Morristown, New Jersey, to help a family go through a basement full of collectibles.
Marilyn Monroe.
It's called a flail.
And say goodbye to the man who taught them to never stop learning.
What? What is that? That would be about 53 million years old. 53 million years old.
Tonight at 9.
Welcome back. The Louisiana State University Tigers are the women's national champion in basketball for the first time after defeating the Iowa Hawkeyes 102-85 in Dallas on Sunday. LSU was led by head coach Kim Mulkey and Bayou Barbie Angel Reese. The Tigers defeated an Iowa team that featured National Player of the Year Caitlin Clark, who set the record for points in a tournament with 191. Clark's tournament run was derailed in the third quarter when she was given a technical foul after swatting the ball away following a foul called against her teammate. This put Clark on her fourth personal foul, just one away from being disqualified. From that point on, LSU maintained control of the game thanks to stellar rebounding from Reese and great shooting from Jasmine Carson, who scored 22 points. The title made Mulkey the first coach to win national titles with two different schools. And Daniil Medvedev continued his impressive run, picking up his fourth ATP title of the year, winning the Miami Open on Sunday. Medvedev dispatched Jannik Sinner in straight sets, 7-5, 6-3, in just over an hour and a half. The win marks the Russian's first win on American soil since the 2021 U.S. Open, where he defeated Novak Djokovic. Medvedev dominated the early game, winning his first 12 points on his serve and winning the first two of his service games at love. Daniil played a complete game, breaking Sinner's serve twice in the second set, which included a 20-stroke rally in which he came out on top. The mercurial Medvedev has shown he's a master of the hard court, but as the tour shifts to the European clay courts, many, including Sinner, are anxious to see if he can continue his dominance. And the NMU lacrosse team traveled to Gaylord, Michigan for a match against Davenport University on Sunday. The Cats found themselves in a back-and-forth game early, up 3-1 at the end of the first. The Wildcat women led 5-4 in the second before a flurry of 10 unanswered goals saw the Cats up 15-4. A final Davenport goal just before the end of the game made the score 15-5 in what was a dominant second half for the Wildcats. The Panthers were outshot 41-18 while giving up twice as many turnovers as the Cats. Next on the schedule for the Wildcats is a game in Minneapolis, Minnesota against Augsburg on Friday, April 14th at 8 p.m.
Well, Brad, how about those Tigers this year?
And they're having a little bit of a struggle to start, but I hope we'll win some down the stretch.
I'm hoping they won't go into their home opener 0-6, but they have to travel to Houston this week, so who can tell?
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today at Public Eye News. I'm Brad Seaborg.
And I'm Reed Hall.
And we will see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.